You have to do it where the people are, right? Don't build culture from the top. You build culture from the trenches. And it's like, sometimes it's hard. Not everybody wants to do it. They're like, oh, this is like another part of my job. But you know what? You know what really sucks is working with people who are miserable.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Erin, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom, because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world, but fed up with the BS.
I know, it's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy, it's comedy, it's definitely full-on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
Wait, I have to see the pajamas. Oh my God, I love them.
Aloha.
Ho ho.
Hello, ho, ho. They're a Hawaiian theme. An elf called Walmart made them for me. They were the right size.
Oh, well, from Walmart.
From Walmart. An elf from Walmart made them, and they were the right size.
And you're wearing to meetings?
Yes, I'm wearing them today. This is my I'm literally wearing this to online meeting.
So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that in context of this, like,
yeah,
we might morph topics a little bit. I want to talk about legacy. But I also want to tell you, and it doesn't look like it because I took a shower, but I just woke up from a nap.
You're okay?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock now? I mean, isn't that...
9 o'clock.
'Tis the season. Yeah, probably because you've been up since 3 and you probably did 8 workouts and whatever.
No, not exactly. I will tell you why I woke up at 9. But before we do that, I'm like,
yes,
you've been friggin' MIA, not yelling at you, but I feel like we need to reintroduce you. Like your listeners.
What? I've not been MIA. Really?
Well,
not me.
We've had like 3 episodes at least without you. So we might have new listeners. And they're like, who the frick is this woman you're interviewing? And I'm not interviewing her. This is Nicole, the co-host, because work doesn't have to suck for the last almost
5 years. Wait, do people actually think that? All right, my hair is being funny. Do people actually think that? Like they don't know like that we do this together? Okay.
Well, but hopefully we have new listeners.
Good. Well, girl, I'm
Introduce yourself.
I'm game. Oh God, that's tough. I'm sure they'll get to know me as we go along, but I think it would be funny to talk a little bit about the Christmas party. Just because
I want to absolutely talk about the Christmas party.
And it's fucking great. Like it was everything I had dreamed of and more.
Let's talk about it after I tell you why the hell I got up from a nap.
Okay.
You're curious?
I am curious. I'm worried.
Because I had a 5:40 a.m. appointment with an oral surgeon to pull a tooth.
Another one?
Another one. But it didn't get pulled.
They didn't. Was it a mistake? Was it for fun? Was it practice?
I don't know.
Was it like an early April's Fool's Day gift?
Here's what's been going down. And I want to say this first. This shit sucks, and I'm 50, and if this is like what God wants to give me as my curse for my health issues in my 50s and maybe my 60s, like, thank you. It sucks, but thank you, right? Could be worse.
Right. It does suck also, and it sucks like when things start falling apart.
Well, and I've started falling apart. So as you know, when we went to Minneapolis to go ride on roller coasters because they invited us there to do National Authenticity Day, I ate a rice cake on the way there and did something to my tooth, which was mysterious until we got back and half my tooth fell out. So I've been dealing with that tooth and having a missing tooth in the front of I've been doing numerous keynote talks with no tooth because I'm still waiting to get the implant because you have to wait freaking like 4 months.
Sorry. It's just so authentic.
Right? Like, should I rebrand to like the hillbilly keynote speaker?
Because you know how many people in this country have dental issues? Like maybe it's the most authentic thing on earth. It's probably the thing that binds us all is dental.
No pun intended. I think dental word.
Well, guess what I'm doing Monday is same thing, like Merry Christmas. I have to go get something pulled, filled, fixed, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's, it, I think many of us can relate, trust me. And
Yeah.
it's one of those glaring reminder of just how, you could be taken down so easily by something so small.
Yes. So mine went, so I've been dealing with this top tooth. And then when I was in there, like, oh, we're concerned though about these back two teeth. One has a root canal from like a bazillion years ago. I have the worst teeth. It's embarrassing, but like I have the worst teeth.
Yeah, it happens. It's just genetic.
And the other one, I think had a cavity filled or whatever. I don't know. I'm a freaking nightmare. So I'm like, you know what? This was months ago. I was like, let's just get it freaking done. Let's use my benefits this year because I know I'm using them next year for the implant, for the stuff. And so I went in on Tuesday, got those prepped, got a temporary crown, was told not to eat for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours later, I took one bite into something, not even on the tooth, and it like shattered. And look, it's temporary. So I would have lived with it, except for it was like a tiny razor blade in my mouth, like cutting my tongue at every like turn. So I drove back. Now, meanwhile, our dentist, not to be like, whatever, well, but our dentist is in Rocky Hill. So it's a half an hour drive for me. So I go back Tuesday afternoon to get it fixed. Next day, cracks again, same place, razor blades. I'm like, okay, I can't go through the Christmas holiday knowing that, they're going to be off. So I went back yesterday and thought that they were just going to repair it. Well, they said, we need to do, I think we need to take it out and redo, and we need to dumb you up. Well, next thing you know, I'm in the chair for an hour. I have tears running down my face. I can actually feel the pain of them drilling.
Yeah, because it's like so, and the reverberation and the pain that you can, it's terrible.
It was horrible. So she had told me earlier, like this tooth we're close to the nerve, might need a root canal. And I was like, fuck root canals. I'm never doing one again. I'm just pulling teeth, especially when it's like the last tooth. Like I am straight up hillbilly. The worst teeth. So we make the decision, okay, we're going to pull it. We're going to cancel the crown for that one. Calls the endodontist, can't get in until February. They call one of the dental assistants who's amazing. Is like, let me give a sob story. She says they have one appointment tomorrow at 5:40 a.m. in West Hartford. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. So that's again, half an hour away.
That's like going to the airport.
There was nobody on the road. So
doctors take appointments at 5:40. Dentists in the 5:40 in the morning. I've never heard of that.
Nicole, I walked in.
24-hour clinic.
I walked in at 5:30 a.m. There were 3 female like office and assistants, like fully showered in makeup, smiling, talking to each other.
I hate them. I'm grateful for them, but I hate them.
Yeah. So I got in the chair, and he looked at my stuff and he was very perplexed because he's like, that's not the tooth I would think would be the issue. Yada, yada, yada. Long story short, he left it up to me, but I'm sitting here looking at an oral surgeon who's not convicted that I should have a tooth pulled and decide not
to do it.
A tooth. Because he's like, you should have some sensitivity. What's that?
Do you feel like you need a new dentist?
I posted like 45 minutes ago on Facebook where, in our local town thing, like looking for a new dentist. I think it's time. We've been with them forever. Our family went to them. That's why we go half an hour away. Manny started going there, aunt and uncle in Rocky Hill. But the reality is the primary dentist, we don't see him anymore. We see newer people who are very kind and very sweet, but we're questioning because Manny had an issue too.
It might be time. Are they like great? Is this some like great connection?
No, they're just in the town, his family. Yeah.
No,
that was fine.
I feel you on this. Like, this high end up with my OBGYN. I was like born into the practice. No, I'm still there. Like issue upon issue. Like, right. Maybe I should make a change. Oh, girl, I just want you to know I'm not one of those friends who's going to be like, never. I can't believe this. I hate those friends.
No, that's my husband. I have one built in. Thank you. He has like one cavity from like when he didn't go to the dentist for like 7 years when he was a teenager.
Right. I'm like, anymore.
Yes.
I'm in that mood. You're in or you're out today. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
You went to like the airport dentist at 5 a.m. and it was
didn't go anywhere.
But do you still have the razor blade in your mouth, or is that
no? They fixed that yesterday. That hasn't cracked yet, at least. And like he said, you should have a little bit of sensitivity when it's a temporary crown. And so he gave me his cell phone and he was like, call me this weekend or up till Monday if you're like screaming in pain. We'll get it done before I go and break. If not, like, I don't think we should do it. So
okay.
I'm sure everybody tuned in to hear about my dental issues. I think if nothing else, like, it could be worse, people. Like, you could be a total hillbilly mouth. Like,
this is the magic of the holiday season.
All I want for Christmas is not my two back teeth pulled out.
Exactly. I was just about to make that joke. I'm so glad I teed you up appropriately.
Yeah. So we're recording the Friday before Christmas, a giddy time of year. This won't go out until after. We actually are re-releasing our 12 Days of Workmas.
Oh, good.
Right before Christmas. Yeah, that will have played a couple episodes or episode or two ago because I re-listened to it. It's from first of all, it's from 2020. So it is like classic vintage year. It's free. We made up a sort of a parody to 12 Days of Workmas and surprised each other because I did the odds and you did the evens, I think it was.
That was funny.
We didn't have any chat GPT or anybody, like we didn't engines to like
couldn't cheat.
Couldn't cheat. We came up with our own. And I think actually the funniest part of the episode, it's like a 15-minute episode, is you talking about how you were preparing for the holidays. And it was like, you had like money, a low-cut t-shirt, and snow melt. Or something.
Oh my God, I remember that. That was funny. That was like my first winter sort of, dealing with things on my own, Oh my God.
Well, I mean, in the classic Nicole story is from when we lived in an apartment together and my brother and sister-in-law were out. We had this huge like snowstorm, probably like 1.5 feet. And you had to where did you have to go? Did you have to go to work? Do you remember?
I had to go to work or the airport. It was work related, either a client site or something like that. Yeah, it was work related. I had to get out and I did not have a shovel. So I used a bowl. And then I was
$20.
But I was so efficient. Do you remember I ended up shoveling other people out with my bowl?
No, I thought you paid some dude $20.
No.
Oh.
I had the bowl. You made shoveling myself. I made my
I didn't know you were a class cleaner.
Cool. I hustled people with my bowl. I did. I was straight up did. There was like an Indian guy next door who was like, I have nice dress shoes on. I cannot get them wet. And I was like, I'm your lady. I got
not
you.
for free.
But not for free. I was like, I got you and your nice car and your nice shoes. I was like, on fire. Nope. Yes.
Well, I want to talk about your I just want to talk about what's been going on at work, but like we have to hear about your Christmas party.
Also everything, because we just haven't like talked. I know there's just been a lot going on and it's been a crazy like ever since, at like Thanksgiving. Like
Thanksgiving, you might have jetted away on an island for a date or two. You might be like spending most of your evenings doing your artistry. I'm not blaming it on you. Like mine is less sexy. I'm, running kids to hockey practice and whatever. But yeah,
we need to make more time. But also there's been a lot of like evil things like wrapping gifts, which I hate, and all of that terrible stuff. So there's also equal amounts of terrible things going on. But it's funny, Erin, here I am in my Christmas pajamas, my Olo ho 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 Christmas pajamas from an elf named Walmart. And I just decided that
you have a rash yet? Are these did you even wash them before you put them on?
I am sweating so much.
It's a onesie, right?
Yes. And I don't know what material they're made from, but it is not from this earth. No, there's nothing natural.
I mean, they're cute, but I could kind of tell that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're fabulous. They've got reindeer drinking fabulous drinks on them, but I'm wearing this today in honor of it being almost Christmas. Even though I'm working all next week, I get, welcome to America. You get your one Christmas day off and I'm kind of covering everything. But I'm going in with the spirit of everyone else taking vacation and feeling the Christmas spirit. And I am doing all of my video calls in my onesie pajamas today. And I'm owning it. I was like, this is what working at home is about.
Absolutely.
Who's going to be inspired? Like, who isn't going to want to talk about sub-metering, residential electricity, low income monitoring, whatever, with the Christmas onesie, I mean, they're going to take me seriously. They're going to hear what I have to say. Like, shit's going to happen for the better for the people of Connecticut because I'm going to inspire people with my Christmas onesie. That's what I think. I think it's going to make everything so much more tolerable because anybody who scheduled anything today is a horrible person. But I want you to know that I changed things up this year. I don't know if anybody needs a little inspiration for their holiday partying because I think a lot of people also felt very crammed in with the schedule this year because Thanksgiving was so late. I think a lot of people are doing stuff after the new year. They're doing like a combined Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year thing. So I've heard a lot of that, like the party shifting. So if anyone needs any inspiration, I mixed it up this year. Like in addition to all of the things that I'm doing poorly, I was like, oh, I'm the senior lady of the office. So of course, the unpaid work of hosting holiday parties falls on me, but of course. And, honestly, like I laugh, but it really is a thing. Like,
It doesn't. Most people would delegate it out.
matter.
You
It doesn't.
pretend that it's a burden. You're like, I was born for this.
I was. Yes, I was. No, and I did have awesome people helping me. Like I did not do it all myself. It's just that in order to even do something like that, it's like, hey, it's December. Like we probably should have an end of year party. Simply just to say like, hey guys, this year was fucking nuts. Like let's just celebrate. So it was very funny how this all came together because every year I come up with a theme. And the theme of our year was like the office theme was we're trying to help you and you hate it. So that has been our office theme all year and people have loved it. It's on boards, it's on t-shirts. Like I think it has helped us keep our sense of humor even when we were getting death threats this year. And so that was like the theme of the holiday party is like, we're trying to help you and you hate it, right? So a couple of things happened. First of all, I decided I'm not doing Christmas cards. Like I am giving people bad management advice stickers. And I was going to first assign them to everybody. But then I made like a mental note of which ones I thought were most appropriate. And then it was like a psychological test to see what people chose. And I'm telling you, 90%, you got it right. Yes. There was one that said, I'm not bossy. I'm just aggressively helpful. And there were two women fighting over it. And one of them says to me, if you had given this to me, I would have been offended. She's like, but I self-selected. See,
It's amazing. It's called the self-determination theory. I read about it.
it was so great. And then this one I kept for myself. Don't be part of the problem, be the whole problem.
Oh my God, can you please get me one of that's so 50% rule.
And exactly. Actually, I do have one for you. Remember I mentioned there was a Christmas present involved? This may already be part of it.
By the way, though, you forgot to get some of our stickers. Did you remember that we have?
I didn't know it. You know what, though? This was so popular that's going to be a next year thing. It's like, I'm going to be like, by the way, everybody, let me introduce you to something called the podcast on which that I sometimes talk about all of you all, except I'm going to pretend I don't. And it's not inspired by any of you at all, crazy people. But I think it might be time to clue them in. Also, first of all, I'm a delight. There's another one that says, I can't live, laugh, love under these conditions. And there was one that was really popular that said, don't worry, it gets worse. And then of all things, which was funny because this became like this magical theme that people kind of just picked up on, was there was a couple that like Tom, my boss, took this one that said, it had a dumpster fire and it said, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And then there was one Daily Shitstorm Survivors Club. And in addition to this, we had a tacky ornament swap, which was hilarious. And let me tell you, people who are not Christian also enjoy sometimes a good ornament swap. I mean, it's just home decor. So you can imagine the level of some of it was created. We also had a judgment concert, a contest in the end, because after all, we are in administrative courts. So there needs to be judgment. Like someone needs to be winner. Someone needs to start. So we went full theme. So I'll tell you what the winning one was hilarious, but two people, dumpster fire ornaments, one of which my boss got. So he's got the dumpster fire.
He doubled down.
And I was like, come on, guys. I was like, it's been a year, but let me tell you, like, look at us. We're all on the same page. You can't say that we don't have something that binds us all together, that we are not a strong team with a strong culture. And how we interpreted this theme uniformly. And everyone was so proud. And then I rolled out the 2025 theme with appropriate management stickers, which I handed to everyone, which is, that's a problem, but isn't mine.
So it's
And let me tell you, this is going to be a huge hit and a huge hit. Everyone loved the sticker swap, and I had extras, which I handed out judiciously to people who were not on my team, but I like, who aren't going to rat me out to anyone about giving out bad. But if I may, the winning ornament was from one of our young lawyers, extremely creative. He made a popsicle stick elf hut featuring a photo of George Michael from Last Christmas in his most sexiest pose, where he's like it's from the video. And this person was not alive when that song came out. So just everything about that was fantastic.
Wait, he didn't dig it out of like some ornament box, or he literally made it.
He made it an homage to George Michael. And I really never appreciated a colleague more than in that moment. It was a huge success all around. So if anyone takes any inspiration for their holiday parties, they don't have to be miserable, even when they don't involve alcohol and happen at 10 in the morning.
Hey, Erin here. So I know we talk often about this concept of authenticity as a secret weapon to success. I swear to you, my authenticity was literally the number one thing that helped me become both the CEO of a 9-figure company at the age of 42, but also that helped me lead an insanely successful financial and cultural turnaround of that same company. But I get that authenticity as a secret weapon kind of sounds fluffy, like fluffy unicorn doo-doo that leaves you wondering, what do I actually wake up tomorrow and do differently without looking stupid or getting fired? This is exactly why I put together the Authenticity Playbook for you. It gives you 10 plays or really thought starters that are simple, actionable things that will help you up your career and leadership game. To get your free Authenticity Playbook, go to beauthenticinc.com/playbook. Again, that's beauthenticinc.com, just the letter B, authenticInc.com/playbook. Or to make it simple, just scroll down to the show notes and we've got you covered with a link there too.
Well, it's funny because you were suggesting a topic, which is like things we're bad at and what
things we suck at and how we turn them into our superpowers.
Like, so I think that's probably an example of like, what do you suck at? Because that is like the best. That's an epic Christmas party with like very low budget.
Yeah, I suck at organizing work events. Like in my own life, sure, I'll be a hostess, but like no budget, no time, generally no interest, competing priorities, feeling obligated, lots of different traditions. Also, like, you're not sure what people like or don't like, and you have like 5 minutes to pull this off. That is something that I dread and hate. When I dread and hate that, I just avoid it and then don't do it. And then it turns out to be something like boring, perfunctory, check the box. But I just didn't want to check the box this year.
That's everything. Like, to me, that's everything I talk about. And not to be like, insert advertisement, but like special 50% rule. It's like, if you suck at something, it's probably because you don't want to do it the way it was done before, and you didn't change everything. You probably still had food and you had some punch or whatever, and you swapped some things, but you like 50% ruled it, and you had a theme. Like, that's a big thing I've been talking about, and actually work I've done now with companies. Like, my tagline is stop being innovative, start being intriguing. And like when you come up with like this intriguing identity or really a theme, everything else gets so much more fun, right? And no companies don't have a theme. They have fucking buzzword like mission statements and bullshit bingo value propositions. But if you can have a freaking theme that's intriguing, and yes, yours was like an office party, so it was even more sassy. But like one of the companies I did work for, they're in freaking property and casualty insurance, and like it's called the E&S space, which is excess and surplus. Like, it is, I'm sorry, but it's boring AF.
Girl, I could turn that into so much fun. I'm a utility regulator. Bitch, people would rather die than work in this area. We could make that fun. They have no.
Well, and I did. So I did work with them and went out and figured out what are they really good at substantively, and then recommended 5 themes or what I call intriguing identities. And did I tell you this story?
No.
So yeah, I did this work this summer. It really been tugging on my heart, and actually, in general, the thing that's been tugging on my heart, and this isn't a surprise probably because the 50% rule sort of started to slide it that way. But if you were to ask me, like, Erin, why do you really like? What is the reason you care really deeply the most about this concept of authenticity? What is it helping others do? The thing I would scream from the top of the mountain is differentiation. Like, stop being same, stop being blending in, stop being a commodity, stop going through the motion, right? Having the same office parties. Like, it's always been part of what I've talked about, build trust and connection. But like, I think I've maybe not allowed, that sounds a victim, like just natural evolution was, it really started as like an HRE thing, like help people have better cultures, have better leadership, like authenticity just naturally fits there. But inside, I'm like, there's so much more. And there's a reason why when I ran the company, we tripled earnings. Like, we had real business results, not just, but we had, we also had the great employee engagement. And
saying something really, really important here. Really important. Yeah. In that, the fact that the responsibility and often the ability does not lie within the senior management or within the structures that we put this on, because they're hamstrung. They're hamstrung by so many things: history, culture, expectations, public image, right? Like, it's the line managers, like you and me, the people who are doing the work to be like, you really want culture, you have to do it where the people are, right? Don't build culture from the top, you build culture from the trenches. And it's like, sometimes it's hard. Not everybody wants to do it. They're like, oh, this is like another part of my job. But you know what? You know what really sucks is working with people who are miserable and who like don't see the big picture and don't want to listen and don't want to be part of anything. It is very easy to be like resistant and to be like, I'm just going to survive. I'm going to get through and I'm going to count the days to retirement. And the truth is like, when the person that you report to is like kind of trying to have a little bit of fun authentically, like, it can be changed. It can be changing. Like, we had the lowest, we had like the best retention in the agency this year. In a year with a lot of turnover, we had like the highest retention numbers. I'm not saying it has to do with me or anything, but it has to do with the fact that the team is generally not miserable when they could be miserable. We also did the vast majority of the work, well, the percentage of dockets, like dockets or legal proceedings. And everybody in the agency was like, there was this all hands meeting and they were doing like trivia and they were saying, what part of the business handles the most number of dockets. And everybody thought it was this other legal department. And they're like, no, it's not the 65 lawyers. It's the 20 people, average Joes down in, my department who are on the front lines to do the work. And people were like, oh my God. And so in combination with this celebration of ourselves and laughing and reflecting on our shitstorminess and, giving each other the permission to laugh about it being a shitstorm, we also did the work and were recognized for it. And I was like, all right, guys. And nobody quit. Everybody has said they're coming back next year.
And I think it's freaking brilliant. I think everything starts with culture, starts with the people, the way you've been leading lately, whether it's the freaking onesie you're wearing, the Christmas or the substantive thing, is everything I speak about. And what I'm talking about, though, Nicole, is not even like, it goes beyond like one.
Yeah.
So now let's say let me go back to my example and tell you what I mean. Like how, and it might be different because your business model is different. So it might not apply as much, right? You're not selling out to companies and stuff, like your revenue model and all that stuff is different.
Yeah, totally.
But here's my point. One, yes, I want to scream from the freaking rooftops, keep doing what you're doing. And I want to talk about that more and like this concept of leaving a legacy and doing it different and 50% ruling things. But the thing that's like screaming, crawling out of me, it's not even crawling out of me, it's out of me. But is this concept of if you can take just that silly thing of like having the very authentic theme that you don't do anything with that externally. But what if you brought that externally, right? And so so this company, this property and casualty company, in I'm sorry, but the most boring as fuck like industry, like property casualty, excess and surplus, like they're basically writing policies for anybody that can't get a policy, right? Like it's non-admitted, non-regulated, like it's a real industry, it's billions of dollars, and they had a better mousetrap than anybody else. Their technology, everything's slick. It's, I talk to their brokers, they all love them. And if you go to their website though, and then I put their value proposition, I literally did this. I put it right next to their two main competitors. And when I did one of my meetings with their executive team, one of the founders literally said, I have to admit, if you hadn't put logos at the top, I wouldn't know which one was ours. And so this concept of an intriguing identity, a theme, like you laugh about what you did internally, but I actually brought that externally. So what I mean by this is I looked at what are the things that they really do well and put them into like 5 different categories, things that they could talk about beyond like what they talk about outside is the speed on which you can get a quote. Speed of quote, it's streamlined, it's technology. Great. So instead, I looked at, okay, what are the 5 things they could do? And then I came up with intriguing, like that word is so important to me, like just something that would make people lean in. It's intriguing means it's got some authenticity, right? It doesn't
differentiates, right?
It doesn't have bullshit big words. That doesn't excite people because everybody does that, right?
Right.
And so I suggested 5 different themes. And one of the themes, I didn't know what they would pick. Now this is a very traditional industry. Most of them come from big, this is an insurance tech startup, but they come from the big old companies. And the one they selected was taking the BS out of E&S. And yes, so they select this. One of the founders was hesitant, and then literally I watched him talk himself into it on the call and get really excited about it. So this is what happened. This is what happens when you come up with something that's authentic, that's a theme, and it's not even just internal for your Christmas party, for your business. So meanwhile, I moved to phase 2 of the project. Phase 2 of the project was once we had a theme, coming up with 8 to 10 initiatives that really brought that to life. Okay. So that could be everything from the way that they recruit and talk about it in their job postings. I came up with like really creative ways, some things they were already doing that we could just categorize under this, but some new things, right? While I was doing this, the CEO decided to go out and get a trademark registered for this. Now it gets better because of course I keep touting to people and to them, and they bought into the project, God bless them. But I kept saying, this is how you get noticed. This is how this is how people start coming to you instead of you going to them. They filed for the trademark. One of their industry like groups, watchdogs, whatever, saw the filing, posted it on LinkedIn. Come on, it gets better. Some of the employees from this company who did not know about this project responded with complete and utter excitement. So much so that one of the leads, their chief revenue officer, had to ask them to take down their comments because they weren't ready to roll out, but instead had an internal meeting. People were so fired up, got so creative, got so excited about really standing out with this theme of taking the BS out of E&S and not the bullshit. And also like I recommended some value propositions that were written more authentically and like gave them some foundational material. This is the thing that I'm like,
for that advertising, you
cannot. Yeah. And I can't
in an industry like that.
And I can't like demonstrate and prove out what I'm talking about more authentically than what happened there, right? Like I couldn't script that, right?
They didn't have to take down their competition. They didn't have to do anything underhanded. They didn't have to lie. They didn't have to create ridiculous copy and fake statistics. You just said something different.
Yeah. So what you're like, so when I see what you're doing, like, which I know for you, but you're not stupid. You're not doing it just because you're like, I'm silly. It's going to create a bond, a culture, a little bit of a common enemy theme with some of the things. But
what
And
what
it's just hard. Yeah.
I want you to hear, and again, your business model is different, but I want you to hear, but most importantly, when I say I want you to hear, I'm really talking to like our listeners. Don't stop internally. Like, we love these things, and then we think our customers and our clients will think we're, irresponsible and stupid. And you know what? The reality is that's what they're craving too, especially in like the B2B world where everything is sort of even more like fabricated and glossed over and less authentic. Like, give people something to talk about. And I'm not talking like this isn't your typical like B2C Geico commercial, great advertising, catchy thing. This is something that has substance. Like, when I talk about taking the BS out of E&S, this is literally what, like, it's not a lie. It's not like that's what they're doing. They just hadn't said it that way. But once you say it that way, not only do they get so excited internally, because it's so much more charging, like, oh, I have an initiative to go towards speed and accuracy, or I have an initiative that's going to take the BS out of E&I, like so much more lightning. But obviously externally too, it gives people like a quick fast pass into who they are. It makes them intrigued, which to me is all about like having people just lean in and go, huh? I want to learn more. Hey guys, Erin here. Stop. Do not do it. Don't fast forward. I have something too important. I have a couple of very passive aggressive questions to ask you that you don't want to miss. Here they are. 1, do you find yourself often comparing yourself to others? Like, they work harder than me, they get noticed more than me, they have better luck than me, they're smarter than me. Or do you also just feel exhausted from having to always work as hard, if not harder, than everybody else to stand out and succeed? I know you have these challenges. We all do. And this is why I wrote the 50% rule. And I know you need to read another book, like you need a hole in the head. But I'm telling you, this book and this rule, I'm obsessed with it. And it has changed my life. It has changed the lives of others around us. And it has also been the formula for success behind so many successful people. Savannah Bananas, Hamilton, Weird Al Yankovic. The 50% rule is the simplest shortcut to stop comparing, stop copying, stop chasing other people, and like literally compete in your league of your own. There isn't a day that doesn't go by where I stop myself and I'm like, oh, she did a talk that I wish I could do. She's got more. No, it doesn't matter. Because we don't compete in the same league. I compete in a league of my own because I am constantly 50% ruling things. So if you're interested in this concept, which, by the way, is more fun as a team sport, but at least start with yourself. You cannot miss this book. It's not only powerful, it's really freaking fun to read. That is always my number one goal. It was my number one goal with my first book. It's my number one goal with the 50% rule. I want to make it enjoyable to read it. Why? So that you read it. So if you feel like you are stuck with these comparison cramps or just all the symptoms that I talk about in the book of sleep running syndrome, self-doubt gout, and pioneer paralysis, and well, you have to read the book to find out more, then just go buy the darn book. Easiest way, go to Amazon, search the 50% rule, and I cannot wait to hear how you 50% rule things.
Erin, like when we started this 5 years ago, part of this was, virtual work therapy. It was like you had these big ideas that were transforming in your mind. And I was, this like undervalued, somewhat confused, like work weirdo on my couch being like, why am I so smart and educated?
Super smart. And
right?
Yes.
Maybe there's something like where we could work on a path together. And I'm telling you today, at the end of 2024, that, I have been with you on this journey for a long time, and I have seen your work and your thoughts and what you give and what you do, people evolve. And I can say truly that I've had a front row seat, and I have personally benefited from it. I've been not just in training, but basically in like 50% rule therapy and UD-ish therapy for 5 years, thanks to you. And I woke up today, thinking about recording and thought to myself, if I've learned one thing from all of this, it's that you can do amazing shit in imperfect circumstances. Like, it's never going to be perfect. Your environment will be it's ever shifting. It might be toxic. It might be difficult. It might be strange. It might be changing. Be fun. It might have a great boss. It might have a bad boss. Like, you may have a lot of control. You may have no control. This stuff is ever shifting, but you have to find, like, I always say this, like 3 to 4 things that get you going every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to hang on to that, focus on that, and recognize that, like, you can still do great things when it's not perfect. Because I'm telling you, me walking away from my last job, which I thought it was the end all be all. I thought it was my identity. I thought I had made it. And when that fell apart in the pandemic, along with everything else, like, I could have been laying on the floor, staring at the ceiling. Instead, I felt like this liberated sense of joy. You probably remember that episode, Nicole, moving up and moving out.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, a version of me years ago, not hanging out with you so much. And, not even just the part where I've on roller skates and in a mini skirt hanging out with you. But like, listen, like I probably would not have opened myself up to the opportunity, but I walked into this, this role that I currently have in this life. And I know it's not perfect. I know there's a lot to work on, but it doesn't make me any less excited about the good stuff. It doesn't take away from the good stuff. And it doesn't stop me from feeling like we can do great things in imperfect situations. And like, I am so grateful and like joyful, even I never thought I would say that. I'm a public servant. I work in a really difficult, under really difficult circumstances. And I am joyful and grateful. And I never thought I would feel that way. And if people walked into my shoes today, they'd be like, well, you've got a lot of challenges, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's so interesting too, because, to reflect back on why we started. I mean, the whole reason I wanted to do this with you is I wanted people to, right? I've said this a million times. I wanted people to know you. I wanted people to hear your voice, which is so rich in a roller coaster, right? I've always said roller
there's
coaster.
Still down points. Trust me.
Intelligence and humor and sincerity. And, I wanted those conversations that I got to have. I felt like other people should get to have them and be a fly on the wall to have them. And so it's so interesting, when you have a certain intent, and obviously that's been part of it. I would hope so. I mean, I know it is. Because we hear from people all the time. When I, for example, went to the book event in Minneapolis without you, went to many without you, people are like, oh my God, the podcast. Oh my gosh, Nicole.
We did a FaceTime. That was so fun.
But I think the transformation, one, like you said, that you've had, and for me too. I mean, I think, yes, I have coaches, and yes, I do work, but like to have an opportunity to just speak out loud my random thoughts and my passions and the changes in my head, and
we're not so random anymore,
right? And this forum helps me repackage those in a way that we can get, by being okay with being authentic on this podcast, not being scripted, but then being able to take those and turn them into, whether it's a book or a training or a talk or an engagement.
It's simply just not hating your fucking life.
Or just simply not hating your fucking life and being.
Because I'm like that version of, like, it's so funny. You've got like the dark, you've got like the bright colors and all like the works. And I'm in my freaking pajamas in my attic. It's kind of funny, right? Like, we are the light and the dark a little bit. But, Erin, I think also there's a lot of people out here who this time of year is hard, right? It can be challenging. It's just, there's a lot going on. You sometimes feel like you're crawling towards the end of the finish line, even if it's not the end of your fiscal year or whatever, the end of the actual year, it does something to us. I don't know if it's because the shortest day of the year is
that definitely has something to do with it.
Right. And there's just a lot of expectations. And I think people do feel burnout. And I said something to my boss the other day about, burnout. There have been some challenges in that area. And I said, there's been a lot of conversation about burnout in the last couple of years, and but it's a choice and all of this stuff. And true. And I was like, there's one level deeper of that. Because I was like, some people, particularly in our group, have a tendency towards burnout. So I said, when you stop and you think about it, and you look around, you look at our people and everyone around you and people experiencing it. I'm like, these are the people we have to take care of, right? I was like, these are the empaths, the incredibly compassionate people. They take on all the problems of the world. They are stressed by imperfect circumstances, right? And I'm like, we think it's about control. I was like, this isn't about control. This is about people who consistently supplement their needs for others. They consistently press down their own needs for others. And that is what often creates a sense of burnout. So, that was the other thing about all of this. After all of this fun, I engaged in some really hard one-on-one conversations with people who I felt like needed it. Not just they needed some management time, they needed some management love. And we talked about things like burnout and workloads and whatever. Like this was not just a gateway to celebrate the end of the year. This is a gateway to have end of year hard conversations about stuff and authentically engage in helping them. Like it's easy to be like, oh, that person's not doing their job, or they're not working up to capacity, or they're burnt out, or they're miserable, they're crawling towards the finish line. And you're just like, when I just started to look at the trends, I was like, oh, it's my most compassionate, most engaged, most caring staff that are the most, burned out. And it's not because they're doing the bulk of the work, but it's the level of self that they bring. And they often push down what they need for themselves because they have an expectation of what perfection is. And like, we do that to ourselves a lot. We do it at the holidays. And like, this is, they always say self-care, but this is a time to be, I know it's a holiday season, but like, think about how all that empathy and compassion and do-gooding and gifting and hosting like affects you. And maybe 50% rule it here, take it down a notch. Like having the perfect charcuterie board is not worth your mental sanity,
Yeah. It's so funny. I look at you, and this is what I thought about weirdly when you joined in your pajamas. I had a conversation a couple of days ago with a potential new client, one that I do sort of what I call coach salting, which is kind of part executive coaching, part business coaching. And in my conversation with him, at one point, because he's became the president of this firm maybe a year or two ago, but he grew up in it. It's a large recruiting firm.
Okay.
He's sort of rose for the last 20 years, right? And so now he's in charge. And he said to me, and then he pulled it back. He said, something on it, and I'm thinking about my legacy, and then he immediately pulled it back. And I get that. Like when we say that word is so heavy, and I think it can have a connotation that if you say I want to leave a legacy, that you're being selfish, that it's about, the big shiny like gold badge that comes with, right? And I stopped and I said, no. That's what you want to do. Like, even though that word sounds pretentious and maybe selfish, and you're pulling back on it probably for those reasons, the reality is somebody that leaves a legacy is somebody that when people look back, they don't say, oh yeah, this person used to work here, or this from these years to these years, this person was our president or whatever. They look back and they talk about how that person made them feel. They talk about it as an era, as this person. And it doesn't have to just be like, it could be this person helped us finally turn our business around so that we didn't have to be fearful of our job loss. It could be that they changed the culture. It could be that they were just the best leader at listening, and that
they just ask good questions.
They ask good questions. But when you sit here in your onesie and you talk about your theme, and you talk about, a couple episodes, 3 or 4 episodes ago about your sticky notes, and you talk about some of these things that you've always had in you and you tried to do before, and, in different ways, and it just wasn't the right place, but you've been giving this opportunity to truly lead at this company, you're going to leave such a legacy. And I don't mean like, you really are. And it could be, it'll be different from every person. They'll be like, oh my gosh, that leader that made us laugh all the time, or that leader that really, took us to the side and asked us, how we were doing, or whatever it is. But I think for people listening, like you do want to leave a legacy. Like you do want to take the weight and the, panache off the word.
Yeah.
You do want to leave a mark. You do want people to remember you for something, not something like shitty, but something unique, something good. And so
It's your life. It's your time. It's not
Like-
just money. It's your freaking time.
and I've been talking about this intriguingness and this theme, and I was just like braiding you, like, it's not just internal, it's external. I'm like, but you know what? It's also as powerful as leaders. And I think that's what I'm taking away from this conversation. You need to have a theme, like, and not just a micro theme, like you have a micro theme or you come up with the themes. Like, I'm talking more meta than that. Like, as a leader, you need to have a thing. Like, you can't do it all really well, by the way, either.
Yeah.
So, like,
can't.
what is that theme of you? What is that thing that you are super laid back, that you are super good at, getting people through tough change? Like,
You will come to naturally. Like, it should come. These things, like, none of this stuff was hard because a lot of this is natural. Like, what would be hard and what would be hard would be being the smartest person in the room. Like, I'm not gonna go down that route. Like, I'm gonna provide and do the work, whatever. But it's like, I don't fight those battles. I don't try to compete on those kinds of levels. It's like, make your legacy in the areas that are truly authentic to you. They hired you for a reason. Somebody saw some quality in you. So let them shine, baby. Let that little light shine, even if it's a dumpster.
well, and I think if you double down on that with your people, like, there's so much grace for all that. Back to your original theme that you're thinking for this call, there's so much grace for the stuff you do shitty. Like, I was thinking about, like, I'm terrible at planning ahead. I am terrible at following a project plan. Like, but I know I left a legacy in my old job. I'm lucky enough to have insiders who tell me, like, the things people say. Like, I put a stamp. And there's so much stuff, though, Nicole, I did when I was there that I was terrible at. Like, it was terrible, but like
Permission. But you have
nobody,
permission.
I have so much permission around that stuff because I still had an identity. I left my authenticity stamp. Like, I left a legacy, and there's just so much more grace that people will inherently give you on the stuff you do shitty.
It's funny because I had this experience. One of the things I'm shitty at is like holding back my emotions. Like, when somebody sends me an email or something, I need to jump in and respond immediately. In detail, like huge emails with bullet points and all the things. And let me tell you, I've gotten better at this over the years, but it's not perfect. And I had an experience the other day which triggered me. And, things that are unjust or not good process, super trigger. Now, Nicole has managed some of this, but not always. And I did not manage this one well. This was not a good thing. And I responded back, and there was, and my boss teases me about this. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and there was a lot of calculations. And I was basically like, doing a whole bunch of like math and analysis in the middle of the night, just showing people how ridiculous and stupid this request was. And the next day I realized there was like a slight error. And so I woke up and I was like in a better mood. And I was like, dear everyone, I apologize for my rage mouth. Here's the one-line answer you were actually looking for. And you know what? Like, I got away with it. There was grace.
Yeah.
And now the term rage mouth is a thing. They're like, nobody do rage math. Just sleep on it.
Oh my God, that's so brilliant.
Yes, but you're right. Like, sometimes, having this kind of persona, and theme and culture and, some measure of fun and humanity in this work, it does give you permission when you do screw up, which is ultimately what you need, because all managers have a lot going on. All people in the workplace have it going on, and everybody makes mistakes. And you do not want to be judged the sum total of the one worst thing you ever done, especially in your career. And how many of us feel like really at risk for that one mistake that we might make? Like, this is how you build up that bank of fuck ups.
And that rage math could have been it if you didn't come back with humility, if you didn't already have relationships that you've built with people. Like that incident, that email to somebody else that doesn't have an identity of humor and caring and humility could have left a very different mark on people.
We also gave it a prize. At first, people were very nervous. this awful training. Remember I told you we had to do.
Yes, the car. You were
What are you
driving a
doing?
freaking car. What we
The video car training, like we had to do, it was like a video game where we had to do defensive driving training, everybody in the agency. And this is like one of those situations, right? Welcome to public service, where somebody high up abused the system, essentially. They were using the car for their personal gains. They got tickets, all this stuff. And all of a sudden, they decided that we all need to take this online driver training course, like 5,000 people. And it's long. It's like 4.
You texted me throughout the day. You were on it for more than a half a day. It was like, was it a Friday or something? I can't remember. And you kept failing it.
3 days. And I was like, I was about to pay somebody's child to do this for me, because it wasn't that I didn't understand. I thought about it. I know it was like, my kid's doing the driving component of it, the clicking component. I was like, this is very anti-old people. But it was funny because I was also texting you pictures being like, Erin, do you know how many children in America get backed over on a weekly basis? Like, it was crazy fact like that. And at the end, like, I was like, well, everybody, thank you for completing that training. And they were all mad. They're like, do we have to do that again? It was terrible as ever. I was like, well, I just want to highlight the person who did the absolute worst on the training. It's really important that we reflect on what we're good at. It was like, and I know this because, the training was supposed to take 4 hours and it took them like 12. And I was like, I present me at this award. I had the worst stats and I failed the most. I was like, I could blame it on being distracted. To driving, I could blame it on just being terrible at this. I could blame it on not being able to click a mouse or my small computer screen. I was like,
the big nails.
The big nails. I was like, but I am the worst. And I will never be driving a state vehicle. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Like, they were all nervous that somebody was going to get called out. And I was like, nope, it was me. It was, yes. And by the way, 50 American children get backed over weekly in America. Like, wow.
Even with backup cameras.
Even with backup cameras, it's a thing. Oh my gosh, people are overly confident with those cameras. So I also learned lots of other nifty statistics and whatnot. But I'm terrible at video games, and they should never be a part of training, but they were. And I am the worst in all of America.
Well, let's end on that, because even though you're the worst, you made it into like, that's everything I believe in. You made it into a connection point, a humility moment, as I call them. Anytime you do shitty on something, get excited, because now you have something new in the bank to go out and build that trust, build that relationship, build that, ultimately that legacy.
Yes. And here's to it, 2025, like that, I know like 2020 was like, ooh, that sounds nifty. 2025, I don't know, some number. Something feels like magical about it. And like, you and I will be up to nifty, funny, fun things in the new year. And I have no doubt of it, but I hope we all start off on a good note and remember that, like, we are doing the damnedest we can under these circumstances. Just keep trying to improve your circumstances with that which comes to you naturally. And, and remember that you, like you say, Erin, all the time, like, you bring your little own magic to it. So like the magic of the holiday season, it's the magic of the new year. Like, don't doubt your own magic in creating awesome things in your life that don't make you feel like shit.
I love it. Love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, it's Erin with a teeny request. If you have ever gotten any value from this podcast and you'd like us to stick around, plus you want it to continue to grow so we can kind of swindle bigger and more knowledgeable guests to join us, and to keep providing you with tangible and inspiring actions you can take to achieve the career and life you deserve, could you please just take 1 minute to leave us a rating and a review? Those reviews go a long way in attracting guests to the show, and candidly, they really make Nicole and I's day. We see you. We really do. So when you have the time and inspiration, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Thank you.